Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video I will show you how to join two columns from different tables from MySQL PHP MyAdmin database in Django web framework. And here we got the final output. The index page contains the headers, after that call horizontal line, and below that we got the select option element which contains the country and state names. Let's open that one. See, the country names India, USA, Australia is from the country table. India, USA, and Australia, and the state names Telangana, Texas, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and these state names, and the S name column from the state table Telangana, Texas, Karnataka is here. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before writing the coding part in Django web framework, first we'll check the table and the column names. For this demo purpose, I am taking two tables. The first table is a country table which contains two columns, CID and CNAME. The CID column is a country ID is an auto-generated column and the CNAME is a country name. Right now, this country table contains only three country names, India, US and Australia. And the second table is a state table which contains three columns, SID which is a state ID, and this column is a auto-generated column, and the second column is a SNAME is a state name which contains the all state names, and the third one is a CID which is a country ID. Here the most important step is when we want to join tables, at least one column must be similar between two tables. If you notice in the state table, the CID column, the country ID column, and in the country table also CID column. So with the help of these CID columns, I will join these two tables. Then I want to display those state name and CNAME columns into a single drop-down list in Django web framework. Now let's start the coding part. Now before creating a new Django web application, first we'll create a new folder in local disk D drive. Right click the mouse, new, I'm selecting folder. The folder name is join columns DDL, which is the drop down list. Enter. Let's browse this folder. Right now this folder contains empty. Now let's create a new Django web application in this folder. I'm using Visual Studio Code to create a Django web application. First we'll add our project folder, go to file, open folder. The folder we have created in this local disk D drive, and the folder name is join columns DDL. Let's select that one and select folder. And here the folder is added to our Explorer panel. Right now this folder is empty. And at the right side we got the welcome page. Let's close this welcome page. Let's create a new Django web application in this join columns DDL folder. For that, open view, select terminal, and here we got the command prompt which is a terminal, and notice the path is the G drive. This is our folder name. Now to create a Django web application, Django-admin start project, and the project name is a DDL join column. Enter. DDL join column is my application name. And notice the DDL join column, the application is successfully created in this folder. Let me expand this application. You see we got, when I expand this application, we got one subfolder with the same name, application name, and one manage.py Python file. Let me expand the subfolder, and this subfolder contains one default Python files, settings.py, URLs, and all these files has been created automatically when I create this project DDL join column. So after creating the project, the next step, to render an HTML pages, we require one folder called templates. So let's add the templates folder to our application. Select the application name, right click the mouse, click new folder. Let's add the templates folder. Now in this templates folder, I am adding the simple HTML file, and the HTML file name is index.html. And here we got our index.html. Let's add some HTML code, doc type. I'm closing the HTML tag. Inside the HTML, I'm adding the header section. And in the header section, let's close this header. Now in the header section, I'm adding the title. The title is drop-down list, multiple columns, and I'm adding center tag. We should add the body here, body tag. Inside the body tag, I'm adding the center tag. Now let's add the headings H1, how to join multiple table columns from MySQL database. The heading tags Django web tutorials. After the headings, I'm adding the horizontal line. Now after the horizontal line, I want to bind the data into a drop-down list. So the drop-down list element is a select option. Add the select option. And the select element, I'm adding the option tag, option, and this is the first option is selected, the property, and disabled is equals to true. I'm disabling the first option, which is our default label to our drop-down list. Country, so enter our country and state names. And after that, I'm adding another option which contains the column names from the two tables, country and state table. And these two columns are binding from the database. So we require the database connection. First, we'll save this HTML file, save all. Before adding the connection strings in the settings.py, first let's add the models file. Right click the subfolder, new file, models.py, enter. And here we got the models.py. First, let's import the class name from Django.db. I'm importing the models class. Now in this models page, I'm defining a simple class which contains the properties here. So first, let's define the class. Multiple columns is my class name. Models, model, column. Let's add the properties here. So in our table, if you notice, I want to display the CNAME from the country table. So let's add this CNAME column. CNAME is equals to models dot char field max underscore length is equals to 100, and sname from the state table. Sname from the state table. I want to join sname and cname columns. So I'm creating two properties. Let's add the same char field type for both cname and sname. Let's save this models.py page, save all. After that, we require the views page to bind the data. Right click the subfolder, click new file, and the file name is views.py, enter. Now in this views.py, first I am adding from Django.shortcuts shortcuts, import render class. The render class is used to render our HTML pages on the browser. And the next one, we require the class from this models page. So this models file is in the DDL join column. So add DDL join column, COLUMN column dot models import, and the class name from the models page, which is the multiple columns, copy that one and paste here. After that, we require the connection class also from Django.db import connection. After we adding the necessary classes, and then let's define the function columns join. Columns join is a function name request colon. Now in this function, first let's add the cursor is equals to connection dot cursor method. Here the cursor method I am implementing when we want to execute the SQL statement or store procedure, we require to use a cursor method. So that's the reason I am using cursor method, which belongs to the connection class. Then let's execute this cursor dot execute method, and this execute method takes a SQL query. Here I'm joining two tables. Select from this table name, I'm adding the column CID and CNames, CID comma country dot CName and state dot SName. From country I'm joining the table state. So I'm joining the country and state table with the help of the CID columns. So here on country dot the table name dot CID is equals to state dot CID. That's it. After that, we need to fetch all the records. Cursor dot fetch all method. So it fetches all the records from the two tables, CName and SName and CID also. Then function return render method. First property is a request. Then the second property is the template name. Our template name is index.html, comma, and the third parameter is between curly braces. Here I'm adding the dictionary. Between double quotes, I'm adding the class name colon. The key is a multi-columns, and the value we are getting from here declare the variable results is equals to, let's add this results, copy this one and paste here. That's it. Let's save this file, save all. Now after adding the views page, now the next step, we need to configure the URL patterns. Open the urls.py. Notice the URL patterns is a default path, which is the admin for this application, which I don't require. So I'm commenting with hash. So let's add our path, comma, the template we are getting from this template index.html. we're getting from this view page, from this function name. So let's first let's add here import the views page from dot import views. Here views dot the function name is a columns join. That's it. We have that's it. We have configured the URL pattern also. Let's save this file, save all. And now the most important, we need to configure our application name, templates, and the database connection string in this settings.py. Open that one. Now in the settings.py, first notice here the install underscore app. So we need to install our application name here. Between single quotes, I'm adding my fun project name ddl join column. So after adding the application name, next come to the template section. Notice in the templates we got the directories attribute. Let's add os.path.join. I am joining my path here with the base directory, comma, with the templates. Populate, yes, this folder name, and this folder contains our HTML pages. So now the last step, we need to configure our database also. But if you notice in the databases, the default connection is for the SQLite 3, but we are using MySQL, so just delete that SQLite 3, add our MySQL, and the name here, delete this default line, and here the name is our database name. Our database name is a sample DB. Let's add that one, sample DB. After that, let's add the username. In single quotes, I'm adding the root, password, colon. Here the password I'm leaving blank because I don't have any password to log into my PHP my admin database. If you have any password, please enter your password between the single quotes. After that, we need to add the host also. Here the host is a local host, comma, and we require the port number for our MySQL database. The port number is a 3306. So let's add that one, 3306, and we must put this in single quotes. After that, the last one is the options, colon, curly braces, between single quotes, init underscore command, colon, between double quotes, I'm setting the SQL underscore mode. I'm setting the SQL mode is equals to, between single quotes, strict underscore trans underscore tables. That's it. We have configured the database connection also in this settings.py. Let's save this file, save all. After that, let's bind the data. To bind the data, I'm using for loop. So in the select option, for the second option, between curly braces, percentage, I'm implementing for loop for, put this in small letters, for and data display. In, we're getting the data from this class, multiple columns class, copy that one and paste here. After that, let's close this for loop also, percentage and for, and here in the options, between double curly braces, the data display dot, usually here we add our column name, but here I want to add my index number. I'm adding 1 here. If you notice in the views page, the CID is a 0 index, CNAME is a 1 and SNAME is a 2, the index position. 0 is a CID, 1 is a CNAME, and SNAME is a 2, the index position. So here I'm adding display dot data display dot 1 and the second data display dot 2. The 2 is the position, the index position is SNAME. If you check, this is the SNAME. 0 is the CID, CNAME, SNAME is 2. That's it. Let's save this file. Save all. Now it's time to run our application. So in the command prompt, first we need to add our project name, cd, not here, here. In the command prompt, cd change directory, ddl, join column, enter. After that, let's run the server. To run the server, we need to add manage.py, this one, run server, enter. And after we run the server, notice we don't have any issues in our application, and below that we got the server URL. Control plus mouse click, and here we got the final output. The index page contains the headers, after that call horizontal line, and below that we got the select option element which contains the country and state names. Let's open that one. See, the country names India, USA, Australia is from the country table. India is in Australia, and the state names Telangana, Texas, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and these state names, and the SNAME column from the state table Telangana, Texas, Karnataka is here. So we have joined multiple columns from 2 different tables using Django web tutorials. That's it.